Hey everybody, it's the Mad Master here. I'm just doing a video today about something that I wanted to come, forward with for a long time and kind of get off my chest because I feel like I have been disingenuous in the past towards people of certain varieties of people, and also it may give people an indication of why I've come to these certain beliefs that I have today, especially the last year, ostensibly the last 5 years in some ways, where I've kind of come to this position in politics and politics and all sorts sociological beliefs and stuff like that, philosophical beliefs. And part of that is that I was raised to hate a certain type of person, basically. It wasn't only people in the household that were doing this or saying this. It was the atmosphere that I grew up in, the town I grew up with, and all that. Everybody. Because I live in a very liberal town, a very liberal county, pretty much called the Berkeley of the Midwest, and all sorts of things that have been attributed to it over the years. Now, one of the beliefs that I grew up with that I really am embarrassed by now, and I kind of dug in more as I got older to this belief, and this is the problem, and I'm not going to blame anybody for actually me digging in deeper into that belief. That's all on me. And that's that Republicans or people that are right-wing are pieces of shit and should not be trusted. They should, and beyond that, which I'm going to go into this video. So, as anybody that's watched my videos knows that I stopped watching the Young Turks last year because they were basically, it was like this sensationalist videos about people that were anti-mask and they would die of the virus, the virus that we're currently experiencing everywhere. And they'd almost seem to celebrate it. Like, it wasn't celebratory, it was more the way they talked about it, like, oh, see, that's what happens. Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons just had the virus, and Paul Stanley famously last summer had all these pictures of him with a mask on. It's like, I wear a mask in the recording studio. I'm so great. It was so annoying. And I stopped. I still like Kiss, and I just take Kiss as just like, I know they're assholes, so I just, whatever position they take, if I agree with it, I agree with it. If I don't, I don't. I just know they're dicks, right? So it doesn't really bother me at this point about, what's happening with Kiss or whatever said musician. George Lynch is pro-mandate, mandating something, a certain procedure. I still like his guitar playing. Now, that wasn't always the case as far as political beliefs of musicians that I liked, being kind of something that offended me. I met John Schaefer back in 2002, and I found out he was a diehard Republican, at least at the time. And I was like, oh man, I don't know about this. No, it got in the way of the music when you had songs like the Eagles Cry, When the Eagles Cry, and all that stuff. If it doesn't get in the way of the music, I really don't care anymore. Back then I did. I didn't boycott him, but I was like, I had to hold my nose and listen to Iced Earth or something, But just getting down to this, I think what I'm trying to say here is that I had a very much indoctrinated opinion that Republicans were basically evil pieces of shit, selfish bastards growing up. That's how I was raised into this idea that they were evil. All their intentions were bad. They were greedy, money grubbing, selfish liars, right? And I disagree with and I had there were other people that were in my family that were still on the left. And I'm not just pointing out anybody in my family. I'm just a certain person in my family that was always like, well, we have a difference of opinions, we have disagreements. It doesn't mean they're bad people, And I was like, I dug in on these opinions as I got older, and I got more, as far as when I started really digging into those opinions in my late adolescence, early 20s. Republicans were piles of shit. You know, I even wrote a song. I didn't write a song, but I had ideas about. I mean, this is going to sound disgusting, but about killing Republicans. I was almost like an Antifa person back then. You know, like I almost got into that extreme left wing politics. Like after 9/11, you know, especially, and I hated Bush and all this stuff, and I just was like, oh my God, they're pieces of shit. They want oil money and all this stuff. And I still agree with that to a certain point, but a lot of Republicans agree with that too now about Bush. That's kind of a funny thing. So, thing is, I was not self-aware about how toxic some of these beliefs were until maybe the last 5, 6, 7 years, and even before that, maybe I was starting to think that around 2009, 2010, where I was like, well, both parties corrupt, both parties are bad, blah, 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 blah. You know, and that's kind of when I got into like Ron Paul and stuff like that. And, you know, this, like I said, this is nothing new. Some of my current beliefs that are happening, like, so, you know, some of my friends, former friends or whatever, might think, oh man, Matt's going off the deep end. You know how many times I was listening to a certain Austin conspiracy theorist back in 2010, 2011? I listened to him every day. I bought silver. I have a piece of silver I bought because Max Kaiser, or whoever the hell the guy was, or one of these guys. Now he's into crypto, that guy. He said, we got to stick it to Goldman Sachs Day or whatever and buy a piece of silver. I went and actually bought a piece of silver because of that. You know, I was really deep off the deep end into that rabbit hole back then. And I kind of dug myself out, and now I'm kind of halfway in again, I guess you would say. You know, a little bit. Okay, I'll admit it. Now, that's when I started to get like out of the hating Republicans as the most evil thing on the planet phase. And at this point, if someone's a Republican, I disagree with them. But they're a human being. They're not, you know, they're not a statistic or a category of person, you know, that you just attack. And I hated Republicans and all they stood for, and I wished them death at some certain points. You know, I was really rabidly messed up in the head about it. And it was really messed up, and I feel ashamed about it, that I was so extreme in my hatred for Republicans. And there's a lot of funny stuff that came out. You know, I did I have this musical project called Randy America and the Proud Eagles of Freedom. It makes fun of a lot of the, you know, post event that happened 20 years ago in a couple days. Country songs that came, these patriotic country songs that came out and all this stuff, and I still think it's hilarious, but it's like, do I think anything's served by thinking that people are just, you know, that Republicans are yokels that'll commit incest and live in a trailer, and a lot of classism involved with that too, by the way. You know, do I think that there's anything served by hating people for their political beliefs anymore? Other than hating people that hate people for their political beliefs. I don't think, I mean, even that is dubious too, and I'll admit that, you know. Nobody's perfect, right? So, at this point, you know, when I see, this is happening a lot on Twitter, you know, and other places, when I see people call for the death of people because of their beliefs about something that they don't want to put in their body, that may or may not help with what's going on. I'm just saying that YouTube can, you know, I'm not saying one way or the other. Obviously, we thought it would help more when May 13th, when they lifted certain guidelines, and now we say they will not help as much as we thought. Period. Don't fucking sit here and say they still help as much as we thought. Yeah. You know, I think they help more than some of the media says, of course. But he's sitting here and saying, it's the same as before. No, not when I can't even go to a fucking grocery store in my county and not wear or have trouble breathing because I have to wear a fucking cloth over my face, even though I've fully gotten the big shot, as so to speak. No, I don't think the belief is the same about the efficacy of of what these things are. But these liberals are calling for the death of people, calling for people to be second-class citizens, calling for and saying that their intent is evil, that they're evil, selfish people. See, that's why I see it, and I see myself in it, because I used to be that person. I was like, these people are evil people. I hope they die. Republicans die. Kill all. I'm gonna write a song called "Kill All Republicans." Yeah, I actually contemplating doing that. Back in 2005 or whatever. I can't remember. It's like, Republicans are terrible. I found out people were Republicans and just wanted to shame them and stuff like that. And I'm like, now I'm like, you know, I disagree with many beliefs that Republicans have. You know, there's no doubt I don't think I'll ever be a Republican. You know, I don't believe in I just don't believe in those things. Now, there are things that they believe in nowadays that are a little more close to a norm that I want to get back to, of course. I mean, you know, they've changed too. They have changed. The Democrats have changed, certainly, and the Republicans have changed too. Is there going to be a huge party shift like that happened in the early to mid 60s with civil rights? I don't know. The switch or whatever, you know, it did happen. I mean, I don't care what Dinesh D'Souza says, you know, it did happen. I've studied history. This did happen. I was given this list, actually, of all these people that switched party affiliations, and it was a lot. It was like a lot of city council people, too, in the South and stuff like that. There was a huge list. But anyways, I'm not debating the Southern switch. You know, I'm not going to debate that in this video. That said, Republicans are people. They're human beings. They have rights by the Constitution. You know, these people that are calling for the death of people that don't want to wear the mask or get the shot, or laughing at them dying, or calling about, like, I see this common thread that goes in, oh, it's just Darwinian natural selection in action. It's like they'll win the Darwin Award. What if they're 30 years old and already had the damn thing? How is getting the shot going to be any worse or better for them at that point? They're perfectly healthy. There are no comorbidities. How is saying that they're going to die? That just seems like hysteria to me. It's like, oh, well, if you're going to die on a ventilator, I just hope I don't see you on a ventilator. They're like 25 years old in perfect health. How the fuck it's just, oh, well, that one guy in Alabama, he died from it. So, is there a huge percentage of people that died from it that were 25 years old in perfect health? I highly doubt it. You look at the numbers from the Cat Dog Cat. Oh, like 10,000 people between, or 5,000. You know, something. You know, it's not a high number. I haven't looked in a while. I know it's only still about 20,000 under 50 that died, and it's not all about death. What about the lawn haul? You know, it's like, that's still rare too. It's not, I mean, most people are, if there's many asymptomatic people that are getting it, as people say, then that means that the rates of all these other things are super low, right? I don't wish it upon anybody, but these people that are wishing them to die, wishing Republican you know what, to die, what, don't you have any self-awareness? Don't you have any, like, reflection upon what you're saying? You're basically calling for the death of people that you don't like because you don't agree with their politics or what they do with their body, their choices that they make. Regardless, it's not only their choice, they're affecting other people. What about what the Cat Dog Cat said a couple months ago about people you know, that have the virus in their nose? You know, there's like 10 times more, you know. I think people have, like, thrown care to the wind and not doing a lot of the stuff that they were supposed to do last year, and that's probably why we're seeing the spread we are, because of the shot. We thought the shot would be our way to freedom, you know. But no, I mean, if someone makes the choice to not get that done, the Action Jackson Nation, if they make that choice, and you made the choice, which still reduces, you know, the worst outcomes, what's it to you? What's it to you? Oh, they can spread it to me. Well, you can spread it. You can get it spread even with people that have had it, apparently. So how does that make sense? Where's the logic? But the worst commentary right now is the people that are wishing people dead or celebrating the deaths or laughing at them like they're just inhuman. You know, these people should be ashamed of themselves, and they're not helping with hesitancy either by doing that, because it polarizes the situation. It makes it more polarized. You're not a moderate. Like Zuba Damania, you know, he was the one that got me to do the damn thing, watching his videos, for real. And I didn't want to do it, and I probably won't get the boost, but nevertheless, I'm just saying, like, he was the one that told me that, you know, he was the one that convinced me. He is compassionate and he talks about, like, shaming people stupid, you know, and, you know, it's perfectly reasonable to question these things. He was the one that convinced me. Watching his videos actually was the tipping point for me. Now, I'm very skeptical about what's going on now, and I sort of regret it at this point when so many people, it's so divisive, and people are calling, like this woman that had her child taken away because she wouldn't get the shot almost, and then he reversed his order because there was so much outcry. Thank God. But you know, because she couldn't, because of certain immunological conditions that she had, she couldn't get the shot. So the judge wanted to take away her kid from her. And then you read his decisions and his commentary, and he expects, like, this virus to affect every age the same. Like, oh, she put her child at risk. Oh yeah, like the 300 or 400 that died from it, like, in the last 16 months. Oh yeah, it's a huge risk. 400 out of millions of children. That's so huge. Oh my God, she's putting her child at risk. If anything, the child's putting, like, grandparents at risk, maybe, but, you know, but that's neither here nor there. So this commentary has gotten so toxic, and it reminds me, though, of how I used to have such a simplified, binary, polarized opinion about Republicans, and I was like, they're so selfish. They have a different point of view. They have a different opinion about what's going on, as do I. You know, it doesn't mean we're inhuman, selfish pigs, you know. No, I know, you know, I mean, I've read Ayn Rand and stuff, and I kind of agree with some of her stuff, and, you know, especially about artistic expression and so forth like that. But I'm like I voted for Bernie twice, and I, you know, for Medicare for all and for free college and all this stuff, but yet I'm very red-pilled about some of the virus stuff. So what does that make me? Oh, you're just all crazy. Oh, what happened to you, Matt? What happened to you? You've gone off the deep end. I had a friend say that about me. I'm like, dude, have you fucking been paying attention? Don't you know me from 2010? I didn't live with the guy in 2010, but it's like, oh, I used to listen to the Mr. Jones all the time, and Mr. Turquoise Man was not too far behind. I've read some of his books later on. Now, that doesn't mean that I believe in those guys, what they say, but I used to listen to Mr. Jones every day. A New World Order. You know, I used to listen to him every day. And and people that say, oh, you've changed. You've changed, Matt. Oh my God, you've changed. You're so different. You're not the lemming that I am now. You're not the guy that apologizes for the Democratic Party all the time that I am now. You're not the one that believes everything the media says now. Even though I used to read Chomsky and Howard Zinn. Oh my God, Glenn Greenwald's a fascist. You know? No. I'm the same as I've been. I'm the same fucking person, except for I don't wish Republicans dead. I don't believe people should be shamed for their political opinions or what they want to do with their body. Especially now that something's available to everybody, you know, and people that are at risk. There's always going to be risks, though. You know, people die of the flu every year. We're not going around shaming people for not getting that shot. You know, let's say this thing devolves and, you know, degrades to that level of mortality. What are we going to do? Continue these mandates? I bet Dane County will, of course, but, you know, because they're just nuts. But I don't know. It's just so stupid. And I don't know. I'm trying to think about the mentality that I had to make me believe that Republicans were inferior humans and inferior forms of life and selfish, evil pigs that should die. I shouldn't have thought of the people as that, the people that believe these politicians. I think it's better to attack the ideas rather than the messenger or the person. The ideas are what are flawed. We all want the same thing overall. I mean, maybe Republicans want a few guns. I want to buy a gun too, actually, but but it's like maybe they want a few more guns, and maybe a little more land than your average liberal. But still, that doesn't mean they make them inhuman people or not people, non-persons and stuff. It's just so ridiculous, and the bile and the hatred that I had towards them is just, it's so toxically annoying to look back on. It's just, I don't know. And, I still don't like the classic Republican thing, the wave the flag and jerk off to the, the military bombing some brown people. That's the cliched Republican thing, which has changed somewhat too. I don't like that. But does that mean that I want people to die that are a different political belief? I want to change their mind. That's what I want to do. I want to change their mind and find, you change people's minds by finding common ground first, and then go from there and kind of soften their opinions or, their discretions towards certain subjects. And then that's where you find common ground. You meet towards the middle, and then you kind of, they can go more your way. That's what happens. That's how you do it. You don't do it by shaming people, calling them names, saying they're inhuman, saying they're selfish, saying that they're all part of they're stupid or they're unintelligent. There's recently something that came out, this survey, and I think it's Carnegie Mellon University, that came out of people that were opposed to the big shot, right? What I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. And there was a lot of people that didn't graduate high school. It was this graph. A lot of people that didn't graduate high school. That was like 20%, and then it was like in between was like a huge drop off. It was almost like a Mesa Boogie, like the EQ. I don't know if people probably don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Like Mesa Boogie amps have this EQ thing, these sliders, and the classic Metallica, like it looks like that, right? Or more even. Huge drop off in the middle, like bachelor's degrees, master's degrees, associate's degrees. Huge bump, PhDs that won't take the shot. So calling these people dumb, uneducated Trump supporters is one of the dumbest things ever. And it's just like, and saying that they should die, and I hope you don't go on a vent, and like you're gonna die, and I'm gonna laugh. It's just Darwinian natural selection if they die, and all these terrible takes. Horrible people, and a lot of them, and some of them are in power too, or in academic positions, speaking of PhDs. And it's just disgusting. It's disgusting. It needs to stop. And yeah, I've been on that side that's defending civil liberties within this crisis. That's just how I reacted to this. Everybody reacts something different. That's my role in this society. A lot of the time is to stand up and say, no, I don't want that. I don't want to go down that road too far. I've got to put a stop to it. I'm a buffer in that road to tyranny, authoritarianism, fascism, whatever you want to call it. It is fascism because of BIG, working with the government collusion with corporations is by definition, by Mussolini's definition, sort of, yeah, exactly. But what people modernly call fascism. Communism doesn't have corporations in control. I mean, some people have argued that's called state capitalism, like Chomsky and stuff, but it's not the same thing. But yeah, I want to stop that. I want to put a stop to that. So yeah, my takes might be wrong. I might be insensitive to people that are dying or something by not wanting people resigned to their homes, like in Australia, where now they can go out for an hour a week. Oh my God, with the lockdowns, we can go an hour a week. These rolling lockdowns that they have that haven't stopped the spread. Nothing they've done. Nothing. I'm just going to put it this way. Nothing they've done has stopped the spread. 15 days to slow the spread, right? 15 years, maybe. Nothing have done. Nothing. None of these public health mandates have really slowed things down to a huge extent. It's not stopped, and neither has the shot. You know, look at what's happening now. Oh, it's because of all those people that haven't had the shot. Okay, well, talk to India. That, you know, last I checked was 13%. What are you doing about that? Are you shaming these dumb people from India that have not had the shot, or from Malaysia or wherever, you know, that they have low shot rates? Are you saying that they're stupid people they're denialists and are what are they called? Are like selfish people in these countries that probably fucking sometimes a bowl of rice is all they eat all day or whatever, you know? Maybe I'm stereotyping, but you know, it's like, it's just the toxic culture behind this whole thing is disgusting and sickening. People should be ashamed of themselves. People should actually come out and say, yeah, I'm being an asshole. Who's selfish though? You know, I did this video before, of course. Who's selfish? You know, who's a real selfish one? You're going on your iPhone and your fucking, you know, remote job. You're on. I mean, I have a remote job and I have an iPhone, and I drink Starbucks. But let's say, oh, you got your Starbucks, you wore your masks, and you're saying, I hope these people die that don't get the shot. Oh, I'm so great. I'm so superior to them. Oh my God, I voted for Biden. He's such a great president. Yeah. I'm a little disappointed with him, but I'm going to vote Democrat because that's what I do every time. Because the alternative would be bad, even though the Democrats are getting worse and worse, and I don't see it because I'm a fucking moron. You know, yeah. Go ahead and shame people for not doing something that. Go ahead and shame people that they were told they'd be forced to do as part of some big plan, big conspiracy theory. Go ahead and tell people to do that as part of what seems to be that conspiracy theory unfolding. Go ahead and try to do that. It seems to think that if you're trying to force people to do something that they were scared to be forced to do, it's probably going to turn out pretty bad. And they're not going to want to do that, a lot of people. I seem to remember that, you know, it's like if America was threatened by the Soviet Union in the 50s, and then all of a sudden there was some communist that became mayor of a town and wanted people to like go to the gulag, and it's like, well, Joe McCarthy was talking about that for 5 years. I guess it's true, huh? I guess it's true, right? Or that's not actually a good comparison, but like, you know, there's like signs that they're taking over or whatever. There's, even if they're not, who cares? It's the symbology and the actual the events that are unfolding seem a lot like conspiracy theories from 6 months ago or a year ago or whatever. Or, you know, certain people on, you know, that no longer have channels on here, you know, talked about it with a French surname and first name James, and certain Eli Whitney spiderwebs, read between the lines there, have warned about all this stuff. Oh, I'm gonna all of a sudden do it now. Yeah, I'm gonna do it because I'm being forced to, because they warned that I'd be forced to, it'd be part of this plan. Oh, well, I'm gonna do it now. Yeah, exactly. Like they're forcing me to do it because of something else. No, it's not related to what people were talking about 15 years ago. No, you know, it's like, and I'm not saying that any of that shit's true, because it may not be very well. It's just when you're mandating this stuff in the way that they were scared of you mandating it in the first place, you're going to be less apt to do it than, you know, voluntarily or whatever. So that's all I got to say about that. I got totally off subject with this video, but yeah, Republicans are people. They're human beings, and I don't hate them anymore. You know, the musicians that I used to hate that were Republican, or I kind of was hesitant to like them because, like, oh my God, he's a Republican. Oh man, oh, I can't listen. Or I felt like kind of queasy, like thinking about like interacting with them or whatever. It's like, whatever, that they have a different political belief. Accept what they do. That's how you do things, is you meet halfway, try to pull them into your reality, but you can't force them to do that. You can't You can't shame them into agreeing with you. How the hell are you going to shame someone to believe what you're believing? You're like, you're a piece of shit because you don't believe what I do. Oh, thanks. Okay, well, I'm going to believe even more in what I believe, right? They're going to double down. And that's what's going on right now. You're a piece of shit Republican. Ugh. You're probably a Russian bot. Ugh. You know? I'll just have to say it right out. I'm a Russian bot edgelord. According to a lot of these people, I'm a Russian bot edgelord, Trump supporting, even though I never voted for Trump and I never would. Necessarily. I mean, if it was Hillary, I don't know. Just kidding. Maybe. Just kidding. Maybe. You know, I Russian bot, Trump supporting, edgelord, Nazi, crypto fascist, COVIDiot, denying scumbag, selfish pig. Right? Okay. I'll accept that. I accept that I'm a pile of shit to a lot of people. That's fine. I'm gonna live my life and turn out correct like I have in the last year and a half about a lot of things. You know, I'll continue to turn out right. You know, and that's fine. I don't like being right though. I don't like being right. I like being right in certain ways, but I don't like being right prediction-wise. Like, I like to say things will be better in the future. You know, I'm pretty black-pilled right now. There's that whole thing that said, if you come out and say, or if you come out and use the word based or black-pilled or normie, you're part of the alt-right or you're part of the incel movement. I'm like, this Australian show, I was just laughing my ass off. It's like, I use some of those words every week. I'm not an incel. I mean, it's been a while since you know what, but I could very well go to the massage parlor anyways, so is that an incel really? I don't know. Anyways, that's about all.